Welcome to our podcast, This Life, the Chronicles of Autism Mums. I'm Alison and I'm joined each week by amazing women who happen to have children on the spectrum. We talk about navigating the ups and downs of parenting kids with autism and how that affected us and our lives as women, professionals and mothers. Strap in, grab some tissues. Sometimes you'll cry from empathy and others from laughter. Join us on our journey of This Life.
Everyone, and welcome to the new season of This Life podcast. I'm your host, Alison, and today I'm joined by the lovely Suzana and Huma. Welcome back from the break, ladies.
Hi, Alison. We missed you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? We missed you all.
Yeah, it was a long break.
It was a very long break, which is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So you look well rested. Are you well rested?
You want me to go for it? So now that we've been back for about, I would say a month, I would say I am. But if you ask me this question as soon as I got here, I would say no, I came here to have a vacation from my vacation.
Vacation from my vacation?
Yes.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about a break from the norm, and is it a friend or is it a foe? So I think that most families, when we talk about breaks from school, routine, work, and long ones at that, then most families without autistic kids potentially think this is the time to relax, sleep in, be together, enjoy time together, do family things. And I also think there's a lot of families out there that the whole thought of a break from school and routine is quite exhausting for the parents, because you get the kids full time then, right? You don't take that break every day. You are their everything. You're, feeding time, your entertainment, you're all of those things. But for parents with kids who have autism, how do we, it's different for them in a lot of ways, in good ways and also in negative ways as well, because I think sometimes there's a lot of pressure on parents, but also a lot of change for certain children with autism is difficult and challenging. So therefore, it makes quite a challenging situation for the family as a whole. So it can be a more stressful time than usual. So how did it affect you guys and your break this time? What was your initial anticipation of this break that we've just been on? Did you look forward to it and think, wow, this is going to be amazing? Or was it a mix? Or did you anticipate different things this break to last? All right, how did you feel?
I guess everyone looks forward to the break. I mean, everyone wants to de-stress. Me, my kids. I look forward to it because you forget that you're carrying the stress of always worrying. Is he okay? Is he going to have a good day at school? Is the school going to call me? Is he going to do his work? Which, is the challenge because of lack of concentration. So, all those things. So, you carry that stress throughout the year. And when there's a break, it's sort of a relief. Even though it's a temporary break, you're like, okay, I can breathe for a few days. Even though it means that, the child is at home, and then you have to, even before the break starts, they're like, just let us be during this break. Don't make any plans. Don't take us anywhere. Don't put us in any camps. But then I hear things, I'm bored. I didn't achieve anything in my life. What am I doing with my life?
The trauma.
What is going to happen to my creativity? I'm a loser. I'm like, oh my God. The break, you give them a break, you don't give them a break. So it's like...
So how long does that break last? How long does that kind of period of you feeling relaxed because you've taken a weight off because you're not stressing about school every day, and they're relaxed because they're not having to go to bed so early and you're leaving them to their own devices? So how long does that last before this kind of boredness kicks in and then you need to boredom kicks in, and you need to change things up?
I think a week.
Yeah, I think a week. I think that's quite a...
And after that, it's just like
that's
the
a
constant...
very generous timeline.
Yeah, I think it's 24 hours.
A couple of days tops.
Right.
Yeah, it's the constant pressure. So, and then you're feeling guilty. Oh my God, I'm not doing enough as a mother. And then you arrange something for them. They're like, why are you doing this to us?
Yeah.
I'm like, so it's damn if you do it, and damn if you
Damn if you do. So in terms of, you know, how your break looks, Suzana, so with your child, if you are organising something, so say for example you give that kind of, I don't know, 3 or 4 days of just relaxed time, and then you know it's time for him to kind of get into the groove of a break and maybe engage in doing some activities or going to visit family or whatever. What are the steps that you take based on, I don't know, going back to last year or the year before that? What have you kind of learned about him, and what do you take from the feedback that you give yourself from previous breaks that kind of helps you to anticipate and plan for a more positivity, like the next time you take a break?
So I think our situation as expats is very unique compared to everyone else. Because usually if you're living in your home country and you have a holiday, unless you're traveling elsewhere, which might not be happening every single break you have from school or whatever, you are probably just kind of chilling at home. You already have your community and whatever activities you have with the people that are in your community, friends,
school
family,
friends,
etc., whatever. It's different for us because we do have short breaks and we have longer breaks, and we sometimes end up staying here in Doha, and other times we end up traveling. And then that depends, like, how long do you travel? Do you travel the entire break or just a part of it? So it's just
it's a lot of change, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's kind of different than everybody else's situation. My friends and I always talk about this because it's kind of annoying, because when you do have a longer break, you kind of feel like you miss your family and you want to go visit, but then you don't feel like you get to experience traveling other places because you just have that guilt of wanting to spend more time with family, having to spend time with your child, etc. So honestly, I've always had mixed feelings about breaks, because I always felt like if I just don't do anything with him, then it's screens. And then if I do things, I'm kind of like having to navigate. It's kind of like extra stressful for me because I'm in a new environment with new people that don't know me or him, that have to get to know the both of us. And then he's not as easygoing with all types of activities. So I think years ago I did try to do like the camp route and that type of thing. I think he was too young at the time. And when he was much younger, like I would spend my time going to therapy as well. That was part of like the activities that we did until we stopped doing that. But like last break, I actually had a couple of teachers set up for him, because there's a couple of topics at school that he kind of was, I don't want to say struggling with, but just had a little bit of extra difficulty. And I noticed a behavioral difference with him when I don't continue doing some type of work. I don't always do this. There are times where I'm not up to.
Depends on the length of the break.
You know, so I had, before even going on my break, I kind of like had done my research, found teachers' contacts, set things up in motion before even getting there, where because they were still in school, we only had the weekends. We got there on a Saturday. Sunday was the teacher's day off, and he started lessons the next day, and he was like I was the evil mom, you know, because he's finally on his holiday. It's his break. He wants to chill. I sort of little bit feel bad for doing it, and I know to others I might come across as maybe a pain in the whatever. However, I just feel like it's just something that's going to take a tiny amount of his time that's just going to help him down the line. So honestly, if it's a long break, I might do something like this. If it's a shorter break, I might not really care, because I over the last couple of years, I'm also valuing that we have like this culture of always being in a state of doing. And a lot of people like attach their value to like what they're producing, what they're doing, what they're getting done with their kids, whatever. And I notice more often that we also need that time to rest and to be in a state of just being.
That's really interesting, actually. And I think that there are so many parents out there with, with any family and any children, that it's always a catch-up game and keeping up with what other people are doing. And it's almost like we try to busy our kids because we feel that we should, not because necessarily we've identified not because we've identified that there is a need to do that.
Yeah.
So tell us more about that. I'm really interested to know more about how you got to a point where you became kind of aware of that and the decision that you made.
You mean like with just balance?
Yeah, the balance and recognizing that you don't need to be busy for busy's sake.
Yeah, I think that is more about like my journey with my own self, more than like things related to my child. And that's because I think, depending on my situation, I was either busy doing things all the time, or maybe not, but busy thinking about things that I should be doing.
Right.
And that was equally as stressful. Burnt out because you can never feel like you're accomplishing things, or you always feel like you're just not doing what you're supposed to, or you should be further along in life, or whatsoever.
And also with our kids as well, identifying areas that they might need more support or development. It's always on your mind. So it's always, I need to do this, they should be doing this, they should be doing, and then you balance all of the other activities that everybody else's kids are doing. So a bit of sport, a bit of music, a bit of, every part of that curriculum to make them well-rounded.
Yes.
And it just becomes, you're just
it's
on
like
this
a hamster wheel.
You are literally on a hamster wheel, on a treadmill, just, and I think we just need to ask ourselves the question, how much do they get out of that when they're so busy? Do they need time to...
Everyone needs time. Like, I think we're doing way too much. I think we really need to slow down. And I think putting them on the hamster wheel from that age is also not that beneficial.
It's not that healthy.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's a minimum that you need to do. And I, do make sure he does that. I try to engage him in certain activities. I mean, and there are things I tried for a while. If it doesn't work out, then, you gotta again, I say this all the time, put your ego on the side. And if it's not working out for him, he's not enjoying it. Like, what's the purpose? I just kind of feel like I learned my lesson in my own life within the last couple of years, that I need to allow myself to rest. And that means not overthinking and going through things in my head all the time. And it was the person who said this sentence to me. They were like, you need to give yourself permission to rest. Give yourself a time frame. I think I said I'll do a week where I don't think about all the 1,000,001 things that I have on my to-do list that I want to get done. The podcasts that I want to listen to, the books that I want to read, the courses that I want to finish, the decluttering in the house that I want to get done, all the home projects, just kind of like, and I literally told myself, I'm going to use this week to rest. What does that look like for me? And I just was like, you know what, if the weather was nice during that time, I was like, I'm just going to give myself at least one day this week where I just go to the beach. And I did do that. And I just allowed myself to be.
Because then you don't feel guilty.
Yeah.
Because you've allowed yourself to do it. Because it's in the plan.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really funny how the brain works.
Exactly, because it sounds so simple, but it's so hard to cross into that.
Yeah.
So just going back to Victor and the evil mum that you are, because you put him into a few hours of tutoring every day. It sounds to me like you didn't let him know beforehand, so that's pre-calculated with you, obviously. So you're the kind of mum that sounds to me like you just... it's better if you don't tell him beforehand?
It depends on what it is,
right?
Okay, and the situation.
Yeah.
I actually tend to want to give him heads up on things.
Okay.
I think I did,
Mm-hmm.
but like after I arrived to my country,
Right.
so I think even not the night before, the morning off before it happened. And I mean, it's just
Too
because
late by then.
yeah, it's too late. It's done. It's set up. I think it's so what. I don't want to sound like a dictator, but it was just that I don't. It's gonna be an argument.
You're gonna
and
hear
it's
it
gonna,
over and over again.
exactly. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to stress him
Yeah.
out because he's gonna get stressed out about it, and I'm gonna get stressed out
Yeah.
until he gets started. And that's actually what happened. Once the teachers came, he had 3 teachers for 3 topics. So I had it set up in a way where it wasn't too stressful. It wasn't all on the same day, etc. Just a little bit every day. And he loved them. They were great people. They were excellent teachers. He quickly, built a great relationship with them. So then it wasn't like, I mean, other than math, which he hates, but other than that, he just was enjoying the lessons.
Okay.
And
as you say, I think if they're spaced and they at a certain age, they realise that it's going to help.
Yes.
It's going to help when you go back to school.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to help when you finish that break to keep your mind moving.
Definitely.
And what else are you going to be doing?
And I was just saying, and I wasn't like completely unreasonable. Like I let everyone know from the get-go that at one point during the break or another, whenever my husband comes and joins us, we might travel or do a little trip here and there. Yeah. So if that happens, I might cancel.
So you're not too regimented with it.
Like I have a general kind of schedule that I like to stick to. But then if things come up on a break, like you have to enjoy it.
You need to be flexible,
you have to
because
be
otherwise nobody enjoys it. And I think that's a really good tip, actually. And I think that's a really good point, that with all the best will in the world, with any sort of break or vacation, to not be too rigid, is a great thing. And in your mind, I think for some of our kids, though, turning it around, our kids are very rigid. So, for example, for me, I noticed, because like you, obviously, we're in the same expat situation, so we go back to our country for breaks, if they're long breaks, and my son, he's very used to staying where we stay and doing what we do, but along with that comes anxiety about my husband leaving and coming back to Qatar for a while. And then it seems that his anxiety levels are heightened. So what I noticed this year,
so you feel like Noah's anxiety is kind of
which
dad isn't around.
Exactly, but I've never seen that before from him. So in the last year, he's developed so much in terms of his awareness of situations, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So this is why we were talking about kind of a friend or foe, because we see so many things coming out in our kids. As we leave them to take a break from their routine, a break from school. They grow, but there's things that, because we're in a routine, we don't see the whole of them. We don't see that this side or this side, because we're very close to it, and also we
have our to-do list.
Exactly. So we're very close to it, and we don't put them in different situations, so we don't know how they're going to react. But what I have noticed in the last year, certainly since last break, is that he's become a lot more aware. Even if I go to the dentist with him, he's, rather than just kind of being like, okay, I'm good, I know this dentist, she's coming at him with a instrument, and he's like, what the F is that? Not normally just kind of like laying down and just being like, she's not going to hurt me. He's like, that is going to hurt me. So and that's an amazing thing, because he didn't have that 18 months ago, 2 years ago. So he's noticing things around him. We're noticing that he's got a lot more kind of feeling, even about pain and about this, which he didn't have before. But also comes the awareness of anticipating situations. So we go, and generally we stay with family because we don't see our family very often. So we kind of immerse ourselves in the process. So my anxiety levels are kind of heightened, even though it's a super relaxed situation, because you're in somebody else's house, even though it's my mum's or my husband's parents.
Definitely. It's still not your own place.
No, and it changes the dynamic. We all know this, because we all do it, right? And you know, for us, it's
like everyone's welcoming and kind and everything.
Totally,
but you're used to having your own space. Your kids are used to having their own space.
Yeah.
So.
Well, my kids are super happy because all they do is just eat ice cream and get what they want. So they're fine.
Yeah.
But I'm the one that's trying to be like
pancakes for us.
Yeah.
My mom is doing pancakes at all times of the day. It's really funny.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you want ice cream? Yes. No. And this is the thing. So I'm trying to keep the status quo whilst the grandparents are just loving and enjoying their grandchildren.
Yeah.
But I'm quite a routine person. So what I noticed this year was that he's very aware of who is around him. So the struggle that I had was whenever we took a trip, whenever we went, you know, maybe we went to stay in a hotel, maybe we did a weekend away or whatever, if my immediate family, so whoever came with us, it's like, come along, anybody, you know, come with us. If my mum came, and, you know, my husband's parents came, or we went on our own, that was our pack, if you like, that was our group. So if anybody strayed from that group, he is just like, well, where's Granny? Where's Grandad? And it could have been they just went to the bathroom, or they just went to a store, or they just went out on their own. He was like, no, we have to be together. So that threw me a bit because I didn't know how to deal with that because I could see, and it's the first time I've kind of really seen major anxiety in him. But I also didn't really know how far to push him because he was really upset about it. It wasn't just and he'd be at that kind of perseveration station where he would not, it was like, you know where they are, I've just told you where they are, but it wasn't, it's not enough for him. It wasn't. It was like, where are they? Oh, they're in the bathroom. Oh, they're in the shower. Oh, they've gone to the park. So you know where they've gone, but that next thought was, okay, they're fine because they'll come back to us. I think it was the thought that they wouldn't come back, or there was something dangerous about it, or there was a safety or whatever. So it was really trying to understand how to navigate that because, you know, with a group of us,
someone's gonna leave.
And also we're going, you know, we can't just all go together just because you said. I didn't want him to